For me, it took me, I missed the Open 3 years in a row. Last year I missed it by 1 spot, and like just going back and just kind of picking out, I'm like, if I would have hit one more deadlift, I would have made it to regionals. This year it wasn't enough, but who knows where it's going to lead me down the road. You know what I mean? If I made the games, I might have just been satisfied and been done maybe.
As an athlete, it's guy to the left of me, guy to the right of me. I'm looking at them like, I know you put hours of work in, I know you put hours of work in. It's, you're gonna quit before I quit.
I just pictured myself and visualized me stepping out on the floor with a shirt on that says 1 through 5, and just picturing that and knowing that. I told myself that all year long. They've been doing this for 10 years now, so they're ahead of the game already in a sense that this was their sport growing up as kids, and now as they are getting into their early adulthood, it's becoming something that could potentially be a career. So I think just that patience and understanding that they're still developing and they're just kind of breaking the surface of what they're capable of and understanding that. And I think as they continue to grow and develop in all the different areas of CrossFit and become men, they're going to continue to excel in all those areas.
I started out at a very young age, 12 years old, and they just kept wanting to say, I got to get on a bar, I want to get on a bar, and the CrossFit coach would have them on a kettlebell, dumbbells. Finally, they progressed to the bar, and I opened up a gym, and Saxon and Spencer both came down, and it was never had to push those guys or anyone in the family.
So when we first got into CrossFit, our dad, he would pile us all in his truck. We burned a CD, and everybody would add like 2 songs that they liked to it. So like every song, everybody kind of got to pick it and just kind of get amped up before we went in. That was one of the coolest pieces. And then when we got down there, it was just kind of like it was just like an old school feel. I still remember my first workout. It was spike gone bad, and it was one of the worst things I've ever been through. And right there, I was like, hey, this is like super cool. It's completely different than any type of training that I've ever done. We used to come up and visit Scott a lot. He was training out at CrossFit Distinction for a little bit. We'd go up and train, and like we were 14, 15 years old. just trying to like keep up with him and some of the workouts and knowing that he was a games athlete, it kind of boosted our ego that we have the potential to do that. That was kind of the time that we figured out that we kind of want to make this our sport. We weren't quite sure when, but we knew that was something that we wanted to do in the future.
We were doing a lot of kind of the bodybuilding stuff. We were doing bench press, curls, and squats, and a lot of that basic stuff. And this was more kind of relatable to us as a family, what we were into, which was sports, and we were able to compete with each other, and it was always a competition. And life's always been a competition in our house.
You didn't know the workouts. You'd go in, you'd look at the whiteboard and be like, oh yeah, we're doing a 10K. But there was like no cherry picking, and it was just down and dirty. It was just kind of like picking away at everything that you liked and things that you didn't like. And I mean, it was fun. It was just fun. That's the only way I could say it.
But I'll never forget, I used to buy bars off of Craigslist with the hex nuts on the end, and I'd have to go around cranking them on, tightening them on. And I'll never forget Saxon doing a clean and jerk, pulling it up into that clean position, going to press it, and the bar just splitting. And somebody had a video that looked like it just took his whole head off.
So I was in college at the time when I got the call that they were involved in a bad accident, and all I was really told was they were being life flighted to the hospital and to get there as soon as possible.
I found out about the accident when the 911 dispatcher called me and said, we have your son Spencer on the phone and there's been a terrible accident and we don't know where they are.
I was an hour and 45 minutes away in college, and that's a scary drive to be alone and flying home, and you really don't know what's going on.
It's just kids that are trapped on the hillside, and we don't know how we're going to get to them. We don't know where they're at. Spencer was pretty well beat up. He had a hole in his leg where you could see his femur, where the tree branch had gone into his leg, and he had tore his face up on the crag of the rock, so his face was pretty well torn up, and he had pulverized several of his toes and his opposite foot. So he kept saying, take Saxon first. As they were coming down the hill, he said, take him first, take him first. And it was just, he was really looking out for his brother, which was kind of heart-wrenching for me because he looked like he was beat up worse.
I didn't know how to react. I didn't know if they were going to be okay. I didn't know how threatening these injuries were, and I knew I just needed to be with my family at that time. So that's what I did. I got in my car and drove.
They ended up calling my mom and saying, hey, your kids fell off of a cliff, but we don't know where they're at. Probably one of the scariest things she's ever heard. My older brother, Steven, ended up going to the park we were at, and he was actually the first one there to see us and was taking care of us. They were able to safely get us down. We were all life flighted to Pittsburgh, and we spent, I believe it was like 2 weeks in the hospital, just kind of recovering.
As soon as I fell, I just remember, so weird, like I just remember like just seeing white. And then all of a sudden I just remember waking up on the ground. I mean, we didn't even get to finish school that year. They ended up putting us on homeschooling, and it was just a long road to recovery, just with like head injuries, and like we just couldn't focus, and it was bad.
You spend 2 months just laying on the couch, not being able to move, not being able to even look at the TV. It really gets to you. So CrossFit kind of took us to a point where you're questioning yourself mentally, like, hey, this is super challenging. And every time we would go down into the gym in the morning, like, we're challenging ourselves mentally to push ourselves just a little more. And that obviously was helping us out physically because we were becoming more in shape as we did more workouts. So I more or less like the aspect that it's mentally challenging you, and I think it allowed us to overcome what we went through to be able to get back to where we were.
Yeah, there's not many 22-year-olds that have a head on their shoulder the way both of them do. I went to college, I got to experience that, but to see the men that they've grown into at 22 years old is pretty incredible. They've sacrificed so much, and I think having a good support system too with, you know, our CF Mentality family in the gym, their support system at home, their girlfriends, things like that, has helped them stay on track with that. But the amount of sacrifices they've made in comparison to your average 22-year-old is pretty spectacular when you look at it, you know, as a whole.
I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, you know, how do you get that drive in your kids? But it isn't really something that I give to them. It's something that I think they've just found deep inside themselves. When they were on that hill, Spencer said, when we were on the cliffside, he's told my mom this several times, I really thought we were gonna die. He said, I didn't think they were gonna find us. And I just think that they found some inner strength that I don't even know if I have that much inner strength in me.
So my goal when I first got involved with working with Saxon and Spencer was to give them everything they needed to be the best possible version of themselves. I wanted to give them something that they could take and carry through the rest of their life. The last 5 years they've been working here at CrossFit Mentality, and it's been a mentorship program, not just learning how to compete in CrossFit, but how to be young men, how to be part of a community and be leaders in that community. And honestly, that's what I'm probably most proud of when I look at those two, is the men that they've become, the leaders that they've become in this community, and just how they represent themselves, not just on the competition floor, but out in everyday life. Spencer is very strong, willed as well as strong when it comes to a barbell and different aspects of gymnastics and endurance, and he really understands what it takes to kind of dig in and get into that dark place. I think the one strength that Saxon has is he's very relaxed and methodical, and I think that's what has led him to be very successful at a young age. They're both 22 years old. My first year at the games was when I was 23, and that's why I said patience is definitely something that I try to remind them about.
Yeah, the atmosphere is it's awesome. They all feed off of each other, so everyone has different strengths. So it's like Spencer's very just kind of guns blazing, go out and kill something, and then Saxon and Scott are kind of more like pace throughout the workout. And then it's just it's interesting to see how they come about things, because then towards the end of it, it's just like they kind of catch up to each other.
Spencer, I think, personally has everything that it takes to be a CrossFit Games athlete. I think he just needs to be patient and relaxed And I think if he can put all those things together on the competition floor, then he's a force to be reckoned with.
Everybody thinks that in order to be like a games athlete, you have to train so much every day. Like you have to do 10 workouts a day. And just going back there and just seeing everyone just kind of laughing, having fun, and like not taking it as serious as it comes across to be. Just made it seem like it's just about having fun. And it's like, as soon as you stop having fun, competing and just training, I mean, I think it's time to hang it up, because you're not going to last in the sport unless you're having fun. As funny as this sounds, Zach and I, we were so young our first year doing the Open. We're like, we're going to the games. We're going to the games, and that was the goal every year. And I guess kind of as we went on and just kind of saw ourselves progressing, we're like, all right, like let's step back. Let's start with a small goal. Like yeah, the games are always going to be like the goal for us. But we got to take kind of baby steps there. So we're like, all right, let's get the regionals, get out of the Open. And for me, it took me, I mean, I missed the Open 3 years in a row. I was like 39, 30, and then I missed last year I missed it by 1 spot. And like just going back and just kind of picking out, I'm like, if I would have hit one more deadlift, I would have made it to regional. So just being that close fueled me that much more. So this past year, I'm like, this is the year. Like, I think me missing it just because of one pretty poor event on my part is just gonna keep feeding me in the long run. So just kind of using that failure just to fuel myself.
The Open is one of the most stressful things that you can ever go through. As a athlete that wants to compete in CrossFit, you have 5 workouts to prove yourself, and the workouts typically that you see in the Open is things that most people can do. And you don't see a lot of high skilled stuff, high weights, high volume. Everything's pretty basic, like I said, for everybody. And it's always that first workout. I think I did it 3 times. Being able to have 3 training partners, you get to do the workout 3 times, you know, and you're doing it, we're all doing it 2 times, we're now doing it 6 times. So being able to do that multiple times, we were able to kind of figure out the best strategy, and that goes for each week. So it's super beneficial having Spencer and Scott as my training partners, because we can kind of feed off each other and we can learn a lot, which definitely helped through the Open. It was my best Open finish in the world, but not my best Open finish in the region, and that just shows how competitive the Central Regional is.
You know, I've seen him every day in the gym training, putting every ounce of his heart in there, and he looks at me every day and says, I will win the CrossFit Games. And not a day goes by that he does not have that attitude in the gym. So to see all of that finally pay off, you know, I feel like I felt every ounce of that emotion there with him, and there's no one more deserving than him to have that moment out there, and to be with Scott and experience that with him as well is pretty cool.
I would say last year at the games, Saxon still compared himself to the other athletes, and he still thought, you know, I'm getting to compete with these games athletes. And I think what he's taken back from that is this year, you know, he knows he's one of them, and he's ready to come back and he's ready to win. He tells himself every single night before he goes to bed that I will podium at the CrossFit Games and I will win the CrossFit Games. I think that right there is just like a statement showing that he will get back there every year and he will podium.
You got to also remember that there's 5 weeks to kind of prove yourself, and it's not always made on the first week. And as those weeks went on, things got more high skilled than we anticipated. We had 315 deadlifts, we had handstand push-ups, we had handstand walks. So that was great to see that they were actually moving more towards high skilled, high volume, which was pretty awesome.
Are we going to see all three of them at the games 2019?
For sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
That was 337. Going 342.
One final event, and it was go broke or go home.
And here we go with just 30 points separating 5th from 9th. 20 points separating 5th from 9th. This is going to be tight, and if the women's race showed us anything, who knows what's going to happen.
So for that one, I went right behind their lane, and a few people let me squeeze up there, and they played like some motivational thing, and you can see in their eyes that they wanted it.
I work with a guy that kind of helps me with my mental game, and he talked to me a little bit, and he's just like, visualize it. Visualize them calling your name. And I laid in bed that night before that final day, and I just pictured myself and visualized me stepping out on the floor with a shirt on that says 1 through 5, and just picturing that and knowing that. And I told myself that all year long, and I went out on the floor, and not even kidding, I was just thinking about that, and I already knew it was going to happen in my mind, and my eyes just started to water, and I was just so fired up going, and they didn't even start the workout, and I couldn't even see the rope. My eyes are watering. I was like, you're going to kill this workout, you're going to kill this workout. And me and Scott go out there side by side, and we're going rep for rep on the rope climbs, and we finish our first 4 rope climbs, and I look to the side of me, and we're both going to the bar, and I look to my left and right, and I don't see anybody else there. And I was just like, this is ours for the taking.
And it's Panchik and Panchik, 1 and 2 to the barbell.
The crowd was erupting, and I knew it's just because it's so cool to see 2 brothers going head to head in that and having the lead.
And it's a family affair here in heat number 4.
As soon as I cross the finish line, I just fall on top of Scott.
They have a Saxon Panchik, he'll sprint across the line, 3:26, and now he waits. Saxon in. It's 88 points for Saxon.
I knew he put everything out on the floor, and if you're around Saxon, you know how much passion he puts into what he does.
I knew I did everything that I could. That's all I could have asked for, and then I just let it shake out, and they call it Scott's name in 4th, and I know Street Horner was in 3rd. I was like, Street took 5th. And the announcer goes, look up at the Jumbotron. There's 2 guys up there, and I see my face up there, and then I see Nick Block's face up there, and Street Horner's face wasn't up there.
We knew there was going to be one more, and we knew it was going to be close. And I prayed.
When they showed his face up on the Jumbotron, I knew he did it.
I looked at Scott, I was like, I beat him in the workout. And I was like, I'm going to the games. And then they said my name, and I lost it.
And that gentleman's name is Saxon Panchik. It's Saxon.
Hearing Saxon's name, it was one of the best things. It was the best experience that I've ever seen.
I was in tears. We all were in tears. People around us were in tears. It was incredible.
That's something that I visualized for the last 5 years, being able to go to the CrossFit Games, and one of my goals was to be able to do that with my brother.
And when they said his name, I just collapsed. I don't even remember who it was, but I collapsed in somebody's arms and I was sobbing.
When I heard Saxon's name called at the regional to go to the CrossFit Games, I get tears in my eyes now thinking about it.
The amount of work that I've seen him put in, he deserved that 100%.
We went out that night, and I was like,
everyone was drinking, everyone was celebrating, you know. I'm just sitting there and like we were out at one of the bars and I was just like, what just happened?
I didn't even know what to think. It was just, you know, you made it worth it, everything, all the work, all that sacrifice, you know. I didn't drink with my friends being 21 years old, you know.
I was very happy for him because I just know how much hard work and time that he put in to get there.
I mean, that's a goal he's been dreaming about since he was 12, 13 years old, and just being able to kind of see that come to life. I mean, just go and watch a video. you can see it in his face, and just that kind of relief that he did it.
No, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that. So I gave up a lot of time with my friends, my significant other, and I made it worth it.
Will we see one of you guys on the podium anytime?
Yes, because if I didn't say yes, then I wouldn't believe in us as a group. And it starts with a vision and ends on the podium.
So this year, I think I've become the most well-rounded athlete that I possibly can. Just having two brothers that have been there, I don't think I need that experience. I mean, I felt like I was able to kind of live through them there, and I mean, I know what to expect. I think that gave me the experience alone, and I think that I'm ready to be a games athlete this year. Look out this year. Plain and simple, look out.
Good. No laughing in the background. You can make all this, you can do whatever you want as long as you're not laughing. Because your laugh makes me laugh. You could jump around, you can do whatever you want, but as long as you're not laughing, I'm good. Yeah.
Scott said to me yesterday, we were in a car, he's like, all right, this is weird, but can you say the Star Spangled Banner without the music? And I was like, you do it first. It was just out of nowhere. It's just like, oh, oh, say, can you see? When in doubt, just get a USA chant going. USA!
All right, I think we're good.
It's like when you're not supposed to laugh and you're sitting in church and then like someone farts or does something like random and you're looking around and you're like, I know Spencer. Like I know it was either him, if you look to your left and it's Spencer and you look to your right and it's Saxon, you're like, one of these two guys farted.
So the first question I asked you last week was, who would win in a food eating competition? She's like, Spencer.
Spencer.
Why is that?
because he has no manners when he eats, and he just shoves his face, and we've had to sit down and talk with him about table manners when he goes out on a date, because that's how fast he inhales his food.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no manners whatsoever.
He's like a garbage disposal. And like most people would want to like dip their food in something or have like a good like tasty sauce on it, and he's like, ketchup.
And then what we'll do,
ever since I started doing the Open, we started in, it was 2014. No, I'm sorry. We did the Open cut it.
Or he's like, I want a hamburger. I want a cheeseburger. No cheese. I'm like, what? So you want a hamburger?
There's actually so many different ways you can approach a hug. There's so many different ways you can. There's so many different ways you can hug a person. Is it up top? Is it down low? Is it like sideways, or is it this way?
That's mine.
Is it like a bro hug where it's like you're gonna dab them up in one arm, or is it like a bro hug into like a double arm? There's like bro hugs, and like you just don't know what to expect. When in doubt, I just beat people to the fist pump. Do I get to exit through the rope? Yeah. Are you being serious about that?
No.
I'm trying to think of like a hand motion. Spencer out. Spencer out.
That's awesome.